What's going on, everybody?
Hello, everyone.
We're back. It's 2025, and this is season 3.
Season 3 already?
Season 3.
Oh, my gosh.
Of Naked and Unashamed SLS podcast. Do y'all hear me? Strengthening love and sex in marriage. We are back, and we are so glad that you're back with us. We missed y'all. How was the holiday?
Where y'all been?
Did you have a good Christmas, good New Year's? It's 2025. We're ready to thrive, and we're ready to help married couple get back on track.
Yes, definitely.
So how was your holidays, babe?
My holidays was good. It was busy, tiresome. Can I go down the list?
Yeah. So I think that's what we might need to talk about tonight is how to reset your relationship after the holidays.
Yeah.
And we always want to remind you that this is for mature audiences only, for married couples, seriously dating couples. And tonight we're not going so deep into the biological context of what it means to be intimate, but we are going to be sharing some adult content. And so this is for educational purposes only. And what do you want them to do tonight?
I want you to go get your couple friends and like and subscribe.
Yes. Please like and subscribe. We're about ready to get it started. So buckle up. We're going to talk about how do you reset your relationship after the holidays have drained you. So we'll be back right after this.
We made it through the test. Strengthening love and sex.
Babe, you know how, well, this episode we're talking about recalibrating, resetting our relationship after the holidays. And you know how most times at the top of the year, we're doing vision board parties for couples, for individuals, trying to map out the new year and what we want the new year to look like. But we need to really focus on resetting ourselves as a couple after the holidays.
Yeah.
Because so much takes place from November to January 1.
I was tired, boss.
Me too.
I was tired.
Me too.
And I think what it is, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I really think it's a culmination of things.
Okay.
We run a mega church.
Yes.
And we have a family.
Yes.
We're not your average couple.
No, we're not.
And so when you put together all the events that go into Advent and New Year's from a ministry standpoint, then you come over here, you got to put Christmas trees up, you got to go shopping.
Oh, let's go before the Christmas trees. We got Thanksgiving.
The meals you have to prepare,
yes.
The turkeys. We decorated 3 times. We decorated for Thanksgiving. We decorated for Christmas. You danced for the first time in 24 years. You danced on New Year's Eve night.
Let's preface what I danced for.
Yeah, she did a liturgical dance for New Year's Eve night. So what we're saying is we've been super busy, and I bet you all have too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it takes a lot out of you. Talk about what it takes from a woman's perspective to do all the preparations around the holidays.
Well, for a woman's perspective, you're thinking even before the preparation for the Thanksgiving meal, who's coming over, who's hosting, where is it going to be, who's going to bring what, who's going to do what. If you're hosting, getting the house together for family, for extended friends, and making sure there's enough food, there's enough toilet paper, so all those things that take place just for Thanksgiving. Oh, and if you're like me, you like to decorate for Thanksgiving.
And you do such a wonderful job. You've got Martha Stewart beat. And then men, we're not exempt from stress either. Honey, can you go to the store and get such and such?
Can you go in the attic and get these decorations?
Can you bring these down? As if I don't have 3 young men that could help me, but they disappear whenever it's time to go up in that attic. Go pick out the tree. Go get some decorations. Oh, I broke this. Can you fix it? It's a lot. And so guess what happens? As married couples, when you get inundated with all of that stuff during the holidays, you lose your sexy swag. You so fatigued, you're like, I'm good. I don't need none. I just hold me.
Rub your feet together.
I never thought I'd be saying, just hold me. But it happens, right? And if you're not careful, that that pattern and that rut
Yeah.
can follow you into January, and before you know it, you're heading into dangerous territory where you're not intimate and you're not connecting like you need to. So what we're talking about tonight is, how do you hit that reset button?
And the reset is not about blaming one another for all long term relationships. It's about growth, because you're going to find out what worked during this particular holiday season, what didn't work during this particular holiday season. And a question you oftentimes ask me is, how could I have served you better doing whatever that capacity is? So, that's an opportunity for maturity and for growth, that you're communicating with your spouse on, okay, we may have not shown up best for each other, but moving forward, how can we do so?
And one of the things we've concluded that we need to do for our emotional and physical reconnect is, we're getting away.
Oh, definitely. It's needed.
We're, y'all, after you've served all the family, the kids, the grandkids, you need some time for y'all. And so we've scheduled time to go away to Cancun at the end of January, after our staff retreat, after New Year's. It's like, hold up, man. We've been running full steam ahead, and we acknowledge that we're tired. And I think what happens with a lot of married couples is that they don't acknowledge that they're tired, and the next thing you know, you're arguing. Your fuse is short.
You're arguing over the sock on the floor when it's not the sock on the floor.
And it's just really time to say, time out. Let me off, Jane, let me off this crazy thing. Get me off this merry-go-round. Let's go sit by the water. And for those of you like, well, Pastor, that sounds great if you got the money, but after you've gone into debt, buying all these Christmas presents and holiday turkeys, what can you do? Well, sometimes it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. You can go on a weekend excursion.
Definitely.
You can do a staycay, but the purpose, the point is, you must be intentional about an emotional and physical reconnect, because these holidays can drain you. They drain you financially, they drain you emotionally, they drain you physically. It's so important. So what are some things they can do?
Some of the things, you reestablish your date night.
Okay.
Like you said, doing a staycay. Visit some of the local hotels in your city. Stay the night, the weekend there. Reestablish some norms around. Visit some places that you normally wouldn't visit in your city. I know we said that we were going to start going to some of the things that happen around the city, because we've been here for a couple decades now, and we haven't touched on every aspect here. I do want to go to Elvis Presley's mansion one time, but
Hunka burning love. You want to go to Elvis?
just because it's here, and to say that we've gone.
And I think it's important to do new things. It's amazing. Sometimes I look on TikTok and I see people saying, I went to this place in Memphis. And I look on, I'm like,
I know, me too. I'm like, that's in Memphis?
I've never been there. And so we got to start bookmarking some of those places. Like, you know what, let's go try that. And establish some post-holiday rituals. Like my wife said, what can we do after? Because I'm going to tell y'all the truth. After the holidays were over this year, I had an emotional crash. I was slick depressed. I was like, I put the Christmas trees up, I put the decorations back in the attic, and it was like,
I think you were having the holiday blues from, the joy that comes with, and the novelty of decorating for the holidays, being able to buy presents for loved ones. And then after you've thrown away, the boxes and the tree and put the decorations back up, you're like,
do we really want to do that again next year?
There's a part of me that says yes, and then there's a part of me that says I want to go away, but we'll have to
What do y'all think? What do y'all think? I mean, seriously, some of y'all are close to our age. Maybe you're middle age. Middle age starts at 38. And after you get past that stage in life where the little ones are no longer little,
right,
and you got grown young men like we do who just want money, it loses some of its luster. And I'm wondering, would it be more beneficial just to go somewhere nice for the holidays and not have the stress of doing all that planning?
That sounds wonderful to me, to do a holiday vacay with the family.
Especially as they're older and they don't have any kids right now. They're not married. it might be easier just pack. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. What do y'all think? Is it easier to continue these traditional holidays and do all the preparations and the planning and the decorating, or could you have a hybrid approach and maybe go away for one holiday and stay home for another? I'm just asking.
That's a great alternative. Staying in for one holiday and then traveling for the next holiday. Sounds good to me.
You know, it would happen that while we're doing this podcast, my nose gets to tickling and stuff, but this is the real thing, baby. Just want to show y'all all of the realness that comes with being married and trying to do a podcast. But here's the third thing. You got to realign goals as a couple. This is, you said something key, babe. At the top of the year, when people do vision boards and planning for the year, we said that when we go away to Mexico, that we want to spend time coming up with our goals for the year.
Right.
And I think as a team, as a couple, this is a great time to recalibrate, to talk about what are some of our major goals for the year.
Yeah.
What's on our bucket list for the year? What's our financial goals for the year? What shared hobbies and adventures are we going to do? So what do you think? Is this a great time for couples to get together and do those kind of things?
I think it's the best time because it's at the top of the year. It's before we get inundated with, because the next, which I've already seen in the malls, we've got Valentine, that decoration is out. Then after Valentine, we have Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter. And so this is the perfect time to really sit and reestablish some group norms.
And you know what? It's so important to do it now because, to your point, the years get ready to take off. And we get sucked into the commercial vacuum of planning for yet another stinking holiday.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, here we go again. But somewhere we need to take a time out, pull over, and say, what's important to us? Not what the media tells us is important.
You're right.
Not what TV tells us is important, but what's important to y'all as a couple. What do y'all want to accomplish this year? And I think it's so important to get off of that merry-go-round of media-driven pursuits and to say, what makes y'all's heart sing as a couple? What do y'all want to accomplish this year? And we've already talked about, we want to go back to Honey Hills, to that cabin we stayed at this summer. And so we had to make sure we locked that in, because when you figure out as a couple what gives you joy, what makes your heart sing, what pours back into you, those are the things you need to put on your calendar right now. Because if you don't, something else and somebody else will dictate for y'all as a couple what you're going to do. Like, look, this retreat we got coming up June 5th through the 9th, y'all need to go on and make that a priority and be like, you know what? We owe it to ourselves to go hang out with the Spencers on Fantasy Island and figure out how to bring fire back into our marriages. It's going to be thebomb.com, man. I mean, we have painstakingly scouted out a place where it's couples only, all inclusive, and y'all need to get there. So if you don't go anywhere this year as a couple, you need to say, babe, let's put our pennies together. Let's put this 4-month payment plan together. Let's go to Nassau on this private island and let's have a good time. Because if you do not schedule time for your marriage, do not invest in your marriage, something else is going to take its place.
And you're that time management piece is beyond important, because all the things that you did the small little things, those, what do you call, the little foxes that eat away.
It's the little foxes that destroy the vines.
Yes, so those things that just destroying the vine, that take, the pleasure out of your marriage, that make you even more tired. Some of those things are like, yes, we're going to do those. We're going to do something similar in 2025. But, some of these things, like, no, we're going to not do anymore because they've been time wasters.
You know what else happens in the holidays is when you get fatigued and stretched thin, unresolved tension tends to surface. And we've experienced that recently and before, where we get upset about something that's not even the thing we're upset about because we're fatigued, we're drained, we're exhausted. And it's important to be self-aware as a couple, to recognize your own triggers, to say, you know what, this ain't that. And to have some self-talk and to give some grace to one another and recognize I'm tired.
Right.
Because we're not always our best selves when we're tired. Even, that Snickers commercial where it says, I'm grumpy, I'm hungry, I'm hangry. And they're like, here, you're not yourself, have a Snickers. What are some things we can do as couples when we recognize we're not ourselves and we're taking our frustrations out on each other?
Y'all know my word. Let's communicate. But not just communicate. Sometimes we have to
Communicate non-violently.
or non-violently communicate, but we also need to have empathy for our partner. If our partner has expressed that they're tired, then somewhere in the back of your mind, like, hey, is this a good time to talk? I know that you said that you were tired, but XYZ has come up. Can we talk about it? Make sure that you're talking to your spouse in the most loving way that you possibly can talk to your spouse. You know?
Yeah. And nonviolent communication, as I referenced, is having the ability to recognize the emotion, the need, the unmet need behind the emotion.
Okay.
So if there's anger or frustration, we need to really sit down and like you say, have empathy to say, what's going on? What is it that I can do to help in this moment? What is it that you're feeling? Instead of being reactionary. A lot of times as men, we get defensive when our wives come to us and say, you always, or you. The way we, what do I say, diffuse a conflicted situation is to use I statements. And you can say, I feel blank. And then that allows your spouse to say, okay, what's behind the feeling? But when you come with that, you always, can you see that, how that can make somebody feel defensive?
Oh, definitely. That backs a person up in the corner and feels like they're being attacked when you're constantly saying, you did, you. I think, as you're saying, that we need to use the I feel, statements. Start the conversation as, I feel that this is going on. Don't switch off and say, I feel that you are doing, because you can still switch it around and still make it feel like you're attacking the person. But be intentional of the words that you're using. We're not always going to use the correct words from one another. We're not going to always use the words that our spouse needs us to use. And that's why I'm saying that there needs to be empathy when you're talking to your spouse.
When you say empathy, what do you mean by empathy?
Listening without automatically putting in your head my comeback. Where you're listening like, okay, what's the emotion behind what my spouse is saying, as opposed to, well, you did that last week, because now you just you backing the other partner into a corner, and you both want to come out, with your dukes up, fighting, verbally sparring. But I think what I mean about the empathy is putting yourself in your spouse's shoes when they're trying to communicate whatever they're trying to communicate to you.
And I think for men it's hard because women tend to be more in touch with their emotions than men are. They want to logically deduce a situation. And many times what a woman needs is understanding, not to prove logic. And I think we frustrate ourselves as men trying to be logical when we just need empathy and understanding. And so men, we got to settle in. After these holidays, We're tired, we're stretched out, we're stretched thin. And so maybe the wife just needs a hug. When she's coming exasperated, maybe you just grab her and say, you know what? Thank you, baby. And I said on the last episode, maybe during the holidays, that one of the things that I recognize is that God told me, whispered to me, he said, your wife has made love to you. I said, no, we've been busy. We've been doing this. We've been doing that. No, she has made love to you. She made dinner. She made the bed. She made groceries. She made love to you. Because when you do those things for us, you're showing that you love us. And so every now and then we have to back out of the business and recognize that there's other ways to show love besides saying it. There's other ways showing love besides penetration. There's acts of service. There's gifts. There's affirmation. So we've got to figure that out. Yeah. So we talked about a number of things as relates to overcoming and resetting after the holiday stress. What else comes to mind as you think about couples resetting after a stressful holiday season?
What immediately comes to mind when you just said about the non-penetrational sex of acts of service and love, being that encouraging voice. Um, Encourage your spouse. Thank your spouse. Sometimes we get so busy and we forget to thank our spouses for the small things. Thank you for, providing the resources so that I can go get groceries for the family. You've been doing a wonderful job. You really decorated the tree really nice this year. Just the affirmations and encouraging can go a long way.
I also recognize this Christmas season that this holiday season was exceptionally hard for you, being the anniversary of your mother's death,
My mom and dad.
mom and dad, and so there was a double whammy. And I was oftentimes trying to make sure that I checked in with you to make sure that you were okay. And like a trooper, you pressed through it, but the fact still remains, it hurt. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to check in with your strong spouse, to check in with your husband and your wife, especially as we begin to lose parents. Some of you may have lost aunts, uncles, or even children. And the holidays can be the worst time for you. So it's important to remain sensitive. The last thing we want to say around this idea of resetting your relationship after the holidays is this. You got to encourage each other to take one small intentional step every day. Communication, texting each other, having pillow talk at night. Sometimes when that schedule starts picking back up, we haven't even had a chance to breathe from the latter part of 2024 because we're getting ready to this major merger. We're trying to, catch the wind of momentum for the new year. People come. There's two places that fill up at the top of the year. That's the gym and the church. People have New Year's resolutions and intentions.
Right.
And as a leader of a church, you're like, I got to get ahead of it. But I can't allow that to get ahead of the health of my marriage. My first ministry is my marriage. Listen to me, y'all. Your first ministry is your marriage. It comes before your work. It comes before your kids. It comes before your ministry. Your first priority is your marriage. And you got to take in small intentional steps. Baby, what are some of those small intentional steps that couples need to make sure their marriage is a priority?
Communicate regularly. I know you're laughing, but not just the pillow talk. Do some check-ins. I don't like to get information from other people when I can get it from my husband. So make sure that you're giving sometimes over communicate. Make sure that you're keeping date night a priority. And if sex is kind of lagged a little bit, you might have to schedule it until you get back on schedule.
Yeah, it sounds foreign.
Yeah.
It sounds like, man, where's the spontaneity? But watch this. Desire is contextual, meaning that some people think desire is seeing an attractive person. Oh, I want to tear their clothes off and just have and romp in the bedroom. That's spontaneous, but desire is not always spontaneous, especially in the context of marriage. Let's go back to the very beginning of this podcast.
Okay.
We talked about the stress that comes with the holidays. You got this long list of things that need to be accomplished in order to have, quote unquote, a successful holiday gathering. By the time you get to the bottom of that list, that sexual desire has waned because the context is I'm so busy, I don't have time to think about the intimacy that I want with my spouse. But the intentionality comes in when you're like, sex is important. Connecting with my spouse is important. And so if we need to schedule it Friday night, we go into the movies and then I'm going to come and jump you when we get back home. or like you told me this morning, you was like, hey babe, after you go and check on the water heater people, can you come back in here and give me some loving? Because I think we were both tired Sunday. We came home, we took our Sunday naps, and we did not wake up. And you recognize, wait a minute, it's been 72 hours. We need We need to handle this. So the intentionality, I think, has to be there on both sides. Don't wait for the husband to always initiate.
Right.
Don't wait for the wife to always initiate. Y'all take turns in those small intentional steps.
Absolutely.
So that's the reset, right? That's the reset. Resetting your relationship after the holidays. And we hope that each and every one of you are poised to have the greatest year ever. 2025, we want relationships to thrive. And like we said earlier, this upcoming retreat, this international retreat we have coming up June 5th through the 9th
Yes.
in Nassau, Bahamas, I think is the ultimate reset for your marriage. 2 years ago, we went to Jamaica. We had 60 couples.
That was our last international.
That's the last international retreat. And so many of you guys are like, oh, I want to go wherever y'all go next time we want to go. Well, we scouted out a new place. We found it. And I think you're going to love it. And we realized this too. After the holidays, you hit that financial window like, ooh, I spent too much on them kids. I spent too much on that. Well, you still got time to get a 4-month payment plan in. And thanks be to God, income tax time is coming up January 15th. And some of you can file. And if I'm going to spend, what I always do with my income tax is I try to figure out a way to pour back in my house. We've had rooms that we decorated. We made the studio to do our podcast from my income tax return. And I think another thing that is worthy of investment is our marriage.
Definitely.
So what would you say to people who are thinking about going and haven't made up their mind yet?
Go to our website, naked and unashamed SLS.com. We're talking about our international retreats that we've had in the past, our domestic retreats. You can see all the fun that we've had
Yes.
on our website. There
We
are
have a
pictures
blast.
there. I mean, we not only just do some workshops, we have fun and we enjoy one another and all the couples that are there. So this time, June the 5th through the 9th, we're going to Nassau, Bahamas for 4 nights, 5 days. I'm like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leave on Monday. Yes. So we are so excited about this next international retreat, and we don't want you guys to miss out on it.
It's going to be amazing, sexy, intriguing, creative, out of the box,
Blue
exciting.
waters.
The bluest water you've ever seen. Ocean view hotel rooms, making love out on the balcony, going for long walks under the moonlight, workshops that will enhance your marriage, swag bags with little special gifts that you can take back and practice in your suite. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. Go check it out. Look at what we've done in the past and listen to the testimonials of the couples that have already gone with us. It's the real deal. Well, listen, we don't want to hold you tonight, but do us a favor. Subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done so already. Go to the link that says share. And we want you at the top of the year to share this podcast with 3 of your couple friends. Would you do that for us? Share this podcast with 3 of your couple friends. And if you need to hit us up, how can they email us?
You can email us at www.drstaceyandrondaspencer@gmail.com.
They got to put the www on the email?
No, you don't. I don't know why I said that. You know, Dr. Stacey and Rhonda Spencer at gmail.com.
And if you want to go to our website,
There.
you go to www.nakedandunashamedSLS.com. It's all right. She's tired from the holidays. I'm telling you, we need a reset. I'm ready to go to Mexico right now.
Let's do it.
Listen, we love you guys. Do us a favor, share this, and we will be back Monday. And Monday, we're going to be talking about the 10 signs you're headed for a sexless marriage. Yikes! We don't want y'all to be roommates and just coexisting. We want you to thrive in 2025. So join us next week as we talk about the 10 signs you're headed for a sexless marriage. Love you guys. We'll see you soon. Be blessed.